When it comes to deciding the continuation of the cryptocurrency bull run, there is one chart that has been extremely consistent since its inception in 2015, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. With that said, welcome back to Elliot Trades channel. I'm your host, Crown, again today, coming at you from a cave near you, as it's rather dark here in Helsinki, Finland. It gets dark at like 3 p.m. nowadays, so soon enough, there's not going to be any sun at all. Anyways, before we get into this one, I do want to let you know I have my own channel in the link in the description below. We do a daily analysis of Bitcoin, if that so interests you, and a little bit of live stream fun action as well. So let's jump into it right now. I expect that this video will be on the shorter side, but this is the chart that we're looking at right here, the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. Now, I'm actually going to just look at a naked one right here, first and foremost. And as I alluded to in a prior video, which I now want to go a little bit more deeply into, the macro direction, meaning the weekly trend on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, has accurately gotten essentially the macro conditions in all cryptocurrency markets very consistently since its inception, as I did say earlier, in about 2015. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to overlay a Bitcoin chart with this. So Ethereum Bitcoin pairing will be the cyan color and Bitcoin will be orange for Bitcoin, obviously. Anyways, we can now put on our drawing tools right here, and we can run through that we can verify here that all of the trend changes on Ethereum Bitcoin have correlated incredibly well with Bitcoin actually putting in its major highs and major lows. So let's start it off on over here. Obviously, this first one in September 2015, there's your lows. Nice and cut and dry. They both rally together, putting in a slew of highs in February and March 2016 before playing out a bit of a downside consolidation. Now, again, key component here. Keep your eyes on the cyan one. That represents Ethereum Bitcoin. Once this one actually puts in the lows and starts rallying again and reverses, that's when Bitcoin lifts off and, well, continues on with its macro rally. And that's your whole biblical rally from 2017, the majority of 2017 right there. And as you can see, Ethereum Bitcoin, while it did put in its highs over here, it did not actually initiate a full-on downtrend until this point right here, because what's needed for a downtrend? You need both a lower low and a lower high. Here's your lower low in comparison to your lows over here. And here's your lower high in comparison to this high over here. And as you can see, Ethereum Bitcoin pairing topped out a few weeks after essentially Bitcoin did. Then they both go down to the depths of hell together, hand in hand, of course. And it's not until Ethereum Bitcoin actually puts in its first higher low over here, actually on the flu dump, if you remember that from March 2020, where Bitcoin essentially puts in its first higher low as well. And the rest is history, just straight moonshot, basically from March 2020 to more recently in April and May of 2021. Now here's where things get very interesting for our current price action as I zoom in a bit. Again, orange is Bitcoin, Ethereum Bitcoin is cyan. Now, you can see that they both have hit their highs together and have been consolidating for a while here. Here's where I think this starts to mean a lot more. So Bitcoin's current consolidation can go both ways. Now, personally speaking, I am macro bullish, but I could easily see this, consolidation dragging off for a while longer, actually, quite a while longer, which would imply ebbs and flows in price action, both the upside and the downside. But the key components would be no continuation to new highs, for a little bit of time. However, Ethereum Bitcoin is doing something a lot more obvious right here, and that's why I want to focus on this chart. It's obviously resolving its current consolidation. So I'm going to go into a full-on chart just on Ethereum Bitcoin, all right here. And let's talk about a few things on the weekly specifically that are important. Actually, let's do this one first. So you can see here that we do have that ascending triangle that we've been speaking about for a long time now. It is actually in the process of being resolved this week, in fact. Any sort of a closure on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time above 7.7 million Satoshis will do it. I think that's more of a formality personally, as we've already seen the 5-day confirm above range highs and is pushing the topside Bollinger Band. Bollinger Bands are a volatility-based indicator. So whilst the Bollinger Bands open up and spread, that implies that volatility is also expanding, which is what you expect to see after or as your consolidations are essentially resolved into a new trending move. And of course, this as an ascending triangle, which is a reaccumulation formation, gives us the bias that statistically speaking, it's more likely to break out to the upside than the downside. Again, for a simple reason, a very logical reason, you're getting higher lows. What do higher lows imply? Buyers getting more aggressive, sellers waning in their power, and at some point someone gives. In this case, it looks like it's going to be the sellers. So let's go over here. And as you can see on the weekly, there's something really significant here. Weekly volatility on this metric, which is essentially the Bollinger Band Width percentile, so it's just measuring volatility and then ranking it into a percentile format, is at or got to about a little bit under 5 percentile read on this current consolidation throughout this whole region right here. Why is that relevant? Well, why am I calling that out? Because this is really, really low on a weekly, which is a very high time frame for this chart. The last time that we were this low was actually in November 2020. So here you go, LDO team. If you want a good clickbait title, this is it. The last time that we saw this sort of read was coming out of this space before the last 200% rally to the upside over the next 161 days. So what? Almost half a year, close to half, I guess a little bit less than half a year, but fair enough. We don't need to be exact right here. But there's also a few other interesting things about this. You'll notice on your RSI right here, you were getting some hidden bullish divergence. Again, don't let this term confuse you. Just means that you're getting lower lows on RSI with higher lows on price action, meaning that bears are trying to use more force, representing the RSI, to push price action to the downside, but price action is making higher lows. It's good. And what are we getting right here? Hidden bullish divergence right there on that blue drive. This blue drive and this blue drive is what I'm referring to. What else? Well, we're seeing the RSI reach for the bullish control zone right here. That's January 2021. What are we doing right here? November 2021, back in it. And might I remind you, January 2021 was essentially that first drive up into your first higher high on the weekly, and just a beautiful move after that. We can go over maybe one more example over here. When was the time before that we had a very low volatility read that resulted in an upside move, because volatility is direction neutral after all? Well, let's see. Nope, all these were to the downside actually. This one getting like the macro low essentially right here. But I suppose the only other comparable one would be way back on over here in December 2016, before just amazing rally. I mean, first about 400% to the upside over 112 days, and then I'm not even comfortable reading this number. It's in the thousands now, over 190 days. I'm not saying that's going to happen right here. Again, clickbait, but fair enough. Okay, so whilst we do have a technical formation here, there is a technical target. And as we went over in a video prior, the first technical target, based off of the confirmation above 7.7 million Satoshis on the weekly, which is technically not being confirmed yet, but looking pretty damn good right now, would be having a measured move up towards 9.4 million Satoshis in line with the 1.272 extension. Great confluence right there. Things very likely do pull back from that region. Yeah, absolutely. But would I be looking for a major high right there? No, as the blue box has probably already given it away. I'm looking more or less around this 1414 and realistically the 1618, which is 0.11465. So that's 11,465,000 Satoshis, which, let's just play a game here. What if Bitcoin stayed at the exact price it is right now? And keep in mind that, again, we do have good information, historically speaking, that as long as this pair stays bullish, well, Bitcoin probably does as well. So it probably does go higher over a long period of time, not necessarily today, for example. But what would that put the Ethereum US dollar price action at if Ethereum Bitcoin hits that price, or it hits this price right here? Well, I've already done the calculations. It's about 62 to 6,300, which is interesting. Now I'll just leave you with one last piece over here. Probably should have put this a little bit earlier, but monthly momentum, which actually, hold on. No, we should look at monthly for, yes, this one right here. Monthly momentum for Ethereum Bitcoin pairing is still vertical. Weekly is having a fresh cross the upside and going into the bullish control zone whilst having extremely low volatility right here. I do like this setup still. So let's talk about validations and invalidations for this one on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing specifically. Again, the weekly, we already got that for the validation. I technically think that that's a bit of a formality right now, seeing as, well, the 5-day already closed above it, so that's looking good. As you can see here, we got just more continuation of these signals. But what would invalidate this as a setup? Well, very easily below 7.4 million satoshis, this would no longer be valid, and I would, well, be looking for some downside action in Ethereum Bitcoin. However, this whole formation right here does not really lose its long-term macro bullishness, which I think is what we're really focused on in a video like this, kind of judging the general market conditions, as long as you're riding above, especially about 6.5 million satoshis. So things do look good. I'd still give it a few weeks of, or realist. I mean, we're looking at a weekly, probably more like a month to 2 months, actually. It's going to take some time, obviously. But I thought that was rather interesting, especially for the people who are, considering that maybe there's a market high going on right now. And yeah, we certainly do have a market high, but is the macro high? No, I don't think so. And that also plays into prior videos that I've done on this channel talking about the macro cycle for Bitcoin, measuring out where I think it ends, which you can view at any moment in time that you desire. I'll just give away the punchline though. It does look, statistically speaking, more likely to end in middle of 2022 or at latest Q4 of 2022. So this market can take a lot longer. So do not be surprised if you see Bitcoin consolidate for longer between basically 65 and 40,000, and perhaps the rest of the market as well. So obviously things will be trending here and there in a bifurcated market, but Ethereum Bitcoin, I do believe, shows the way. So hopefully that was helpful. And at the end of the day, I'm just showing you the statistics and what the charts have. Make the decision for yourself. Of course, you are a rational adult. So hopefully I can do my service, or at least my part, and provide you with at least something interesting here. All right, cool. With that said, I'm going to be signing off now. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.